Welcome to the cottage of chaos and mayhem. The kids are the chaos and honestly, the rest is just mayhem. And yes, that is my foot in a boot. And yes, I am currently building a cottage inside a van in the middle of winter with a broken foot. Questionable? Absolutely. But this is me turning a decommissioned ambulance into our little family adventure cottage. Slowly, practically, and with a fair bit of laughter along the way. So if you're here for learning, problem solving, and a slightly unhinged build process, welcome. You're in the right place. So today's episode is all about decal removal, sticker removal, whatever you want to call it. Because there's a lot of things that we've learned so that you don't have to. We learned it the very hard way. So when we first bought this ambulance, as you might expect, it was absolutely covered in the stickers that come with ambulances, really. And we had to remove all of them. So I did what most people do. I looked it up. And I found quite a few videos recommending the use of a heat gun for removing vehicle decals. So that's where I started. At the time, it made complete sense. Heat softens adhesive. And it's a method that works really well for a lot of sticker removal jobs. So I went into this thinking I'd already done the sensible bit. What a laugh that was. But it didn't work in practice. On these ambulance stickers, the heat gun just wasn't ideal. Instead of lifting cleanly, the plastic layer of the stickers started to melt. That made them stretch, smear, tear, which actually made the job slower, messier, and an absolute and utter nightmare. It also left behind more adhesive residue than I was expecting. So now I've got a whole load of adhesive residue to remove from the van. So, while the heat gun is often recommended, for these particular decals, it just wasn't the best tool at all. So, it was back to the drawing board, because of course there's got to be a better way to this. So I went away again after a whole weekend's worth of work and very little progress, and did a bit more research, looked into things a bit more, and then decided, you know what, I've got a couple of ideas. And it just so happened that it triggered it in my brain, wallpaper steamer, because it softens the adhesive of wallpaper. So surely that might work. And I'm not gonna lie, the difference was huge. The steam softened the adhesive without melting the plastic layer of the sticker itself. So yes, the water makes the surface slippery, which isn't ideal either, but the stickers lifted far more easily and came off in such larger sections. It was faster, cleaner, and far less frustrating. And when I say faster, I mean faster. I managed to do what had taken me an entire weekend to do with the heat gun. I managed to do that in 2 hours with the wallpaper steamer. So that just shows the huge difference it made. However, there was a bit of a con with the wallpaper steamer, and it's going to show in this video clip as well, is that it doesn't work well on corners. Really does not work well. That became quite a bit of a nightmare, but considering the size of the corners and the fact that we only had 2 to worry about, we just tried to stick at it really and get through it as best we could. So for the stickers on the side and the front, the wallpaper steamer worked like an absolute dream. However, then we met another obstacle. The red stickers on the back, because we are certain they have a totally different adhesive to the yellow stickers and the green stickers. So we were struggling like hell trying to use a wallpaper steamer to get the red stickers off, and the red stickers just are not budging. they're leaving so much residue behind, and it was back to the drawing board. So then we thought, well, shall we try the heat gun on the red stickers? And the heat gun worked so much better on the red stickers. So from that, I have learned that a lot of it is trial and error, and it is about knowing what adhesive is sticking the stickers down as well, because different adhesives react differently. Unfortunately, we now have a fairly large amount of sticker residue, adhesive residue to remove from the van, which is going to be a whole nother job on its own. And again, that'll probably be trial and error that I'll be posting on YouTube. Like I say, what we also found was that the red stickers did not melt under the heat gun like the green and the yellow stickers did. So it's very different depending on what type of decals you're removing, what type of adhesive you're removing. If you're removing similar stickers, it's worth knowing that what's recommended online doesn't always work the same way in real life. Knowing various different techniques and having that to hand would save you a hell of a lot of time. It would have saved us a lot more time. Fortunately, I didn't think that. Always test a small area first, because every vehicle sticker and surface is different. Removing the stickers properly isn't just about how the van looks, it's about preparing the surface for painting, sealing, or whatever comes next in your particular build. It's one of those unglamorous jobs that makes everything else easier later on. The other thing to know when removing the decals is that you may have things that you need to remove and then place back on your van as you're doing it. We had this with the electrical hookup. I was removing stickers on one side of the van. My dad ended up removing the electrical hookup temporarily and then using a heat gun to remove the decals, because the decals were actually stuck to the van underneath the electrical charging port to our van, and I can't think what to call it right now. So there's also things like that. So making sure, I would recommend doing a once over with your van, looking for things like that. Will you need an electric screwdriver to hand? Maybe having a heat gun and a wallpaper steamer, because different stickers will come off better with different techniques. So you can swap between them and always research into how to remove decals, because especially with an ambulance, it is incredibly tricky to remove at times. So yes, it has been one hell of a learning curve, but it has been worthwhile in the end. So to wrap up this video, this build has involved a lot of learning as we go. Sometimes following advice, realising it doesn't quite work, and then finding a better solution. So if this saves someone else a bit of time and frustration, that's a win. Next up, we'll be carrying on with stripping the van back and getting it ready for the next stage of turning this ambulance into our little travelling cottage. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, please do press that like button and subscribe, and stay tuned for future, more educational side of van build content. I do post crochet tutorials every Wednesday. I have my series I Made It So You Don't Have To, which is every month. And if you're more interested in the more fun side of our van build, we do have our channel, the Briarwick Adventures. So you can go and check that out. And thanks for watching. I hope to see you again. Bye.